Alrighty, good morning, everyone. We are just still waiting for some of our attendees to get settled here, so we'll probably get started in about 30 seconds. We're really excited for our presentation today. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure a few folks will still join us. Again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Workforce Wednesday webinar series powered by the Florida Chamber Foundation and the Future of Work Initiative. My name is Rachel Ludwig. I'm the Senior Director of the Future of Work here at the Chamber Foundation. I'm really excited to offer this webinar series to discuss a variety of talent pipeline strategies and solutions, and really excited about our special edition webinar today, as our speakers are really going to provide some valuable information about the career pathway of cybersecurity in an employer perspective. So you can go to the next slide. Just a few housekeeping items as always before we get started. I want to remind you that this webinar is being recorded and will be shared with attendees afterward. The webinar participants are encouraged to use the Q&A function in Zoom, and we will leave time for questions for those questions at the end. In our agenda, we'll start off with just a few updates from our Florida Center for Workforce and Talent Development, and then we will also have a presentation highlighting the career pathway and training opportunities for cybersecurity from Dr. Iman El-Sheikh from University of West Florida, and then a unique employer perspective from our Future of Work Advisory Board member, Vicki Green, who serves as the president of GED Testing Services and the SVP of Pearson Workforce Skills. So again, I'm thrilled for our speakers today, and I think you guys are going to get a lot out of this webinar. You can go to the next slide. We always start off by sharing some high-level information from our 2030 blueprint, which is really our North Star, including 6 pillars and 39 goals that guide all of our work at the Florida Chamber. So we're projected to see, continuing population growth and expecting about 2.8 million net new residents moving to Florida by 2030. And as a result, needing to create 1.22 million new jobs, net new jobs by 2030. So today, if Florida was a country, we would be the 15th largest global economy. We just have to work really strategically about how we're going to grow our talent pipeline in order to be prepared for that growth and continue our success here in Florida. You can go to the next slide. You can see here we have our 6 goals related to our talent pillar to improve our workforce. And one thing that I'm excited to point out is in orange, you can see there's an orange box around the educational attainment numbers. And we actually saw a 2% increase in the recently released data for our Sail to 60 goal. So we are now at 54.5% for our education attainment rate. And I think that gets us, on track to meet our 60% goal by 2030. If you like looking at data and like seeing these metrics, I encourage you to visit our floridascorecard.org tool. It's a public facing tool. And we actually will be adding a new metric coming soon. Hopefully I'll unveil that on our next webinar. You can go ahead to the next slide. So we continue to see unemployment that is less or lower than the national figures. And here in Florida, only 83 people are looking for work for every 100 positions posted. Also, this does not include any skills gaps that exist, and we'll kind of get at that later in today's conversation, but talent pipelines still remain challenging across the board. One thing that's really interesting is also the disparity between counties. So somewhere like Hendry County has 323 unemployed people for every 100 positions, and somewhere like Miami-Dade down south has only 54. So you can see the workforce challenges are varied across the state. And again, all this information is available at the floridascorecard.org. You can go to the next slide. So the Future of Work Initiative, as I've mentioned on other webinars and presentations, really aims to unite the business community and workforce and education partners to create awareness of mid to high wage, high demand careers and the pathways to get there, as well as just overall help lead folks to better career opportunities for themselves and their families, and help our employers find the employees that they are seeking in order to help their businesses be successful. So today, in really seeing this disconnect in employers and parents and learners and the information that's out there about these opportunities, this is why we're doing our special edition Career Spotlight on cybersecurity today. So you can go ahead and go to the next slide. Before getting into our conversation, I always want to thank our Future of Work Advisory Board members who represent, a range of industries and talent development professionals who provide thought leadership in recruiting and retaining talent throughout our state and throughout the country in some cases. And really the work would not be possible without the support of our advisory board members. And you'll meet one later today, as I mentioned, Vicki Green. And we also, I should mention, have a new advisory board member who joined the group, Dr. Amy Hecht, who is the VP of Student Affairs at Florida State University. So that's exciting news. She recently joined. We are looking to expand this board to include additional high demand industries to support our initiative. So if you're interested in talking through that or how to get involved, feel free to email me after this webinar. I'll have my contact information at the end. You can go to the next slide. So we launched our Florida Center for Workforce and Talent Development, in the last few months, actually, and this combines sort of decades worth of research related to workforce, as well as providing that continuous platform for research and talent development efforts, and a variety of publications, which a lot of you are participating in, such as our webinar podcast series, as well as our monthly memo and things like that. We have our events that many of you attend. So I just want to point out again the two tools that are really, there's something for everyone on them: the scorecard, which is the floridascorecard.org, and the floridagapmap.org. You can go to the next slide. So this is kind of my exciting update for today before I turn it over. But we have recently revised our top 30 in 2030 high demand careers list. And one of these efforts is to really, raise awareness about these careers and career pathways. We developed a list initially when I first started in the role about a year ago, but these career paths are aimed to raise awareness for opportunities that are at or above the median salary, which is $40,800 annually. And this list takes into account total growth openings, which is growth openings, meaning new positions, as well as replacement. So folks, expected to leave the workforce. And so I'm excited to unveil for you this new and updated list. And this list actually takes into account regional salaries. In the past data, we had a similar salary for a position across the board, but we know that that's just not the case. And so we're excited to offer this new updated list. And I'm actually going to go through just the top 10 today. And if you're interested in learning more, you can contact me after. So you can go to the next slide. So you see here, some of the similar ones showed up from our last rendition, but really we're seeing a mix of education requirements for our top 10. This is a statewide list, and we have these for all 24 workforce regions, and then we'll rework them once the career source regions change to 21. But one thing to point out is that this new list includes 13 out of 30 that require some post-secondary education. So we're talking about a short-term certification program like what we're going to see offered today. We're going to see today that UWF is offering and many other institutions. And then 10 of the 30 require a bachelor's degree. So we're just kind of interested in the wide variety of education requirements for these high demand careers, and we'll continue to focus on what those pathways look like to get there. You can go to the next slide. So I want to shift our focus now to the reason why we're here today is really to talk about cybersecurity as a career path. And although information security analyst didn't show up on the statewide list, it does show up on some of the regional lists. So you're going to kind of hear more about that today. And we also want to think about some of the opportunities that Dr. El-Sheikh will present as sort of a pathway into the IT field. And those positions are showing up on 17 of the 24 current workforce regions for the top 30 list. So that's really exciting. You can see, some of just the growth in some of the metro areas for this career and really high salaries. So this is a really exciting opportunity to explore a career path that maybe some folks, haven't thought about before. You can go to the next slide. So now I want to introduce our first speaker. We have the pleasure of learning from Dr. Iman El-Sheikh, Associate VP of the Center of Cybersecurity at University of West Florida in Pensacola. Dr. El-Sheikh has 30 years experience in AI, machine learning, and cybersecurity education and research and workforce development. She was recognized among the 2020 Women Leaders in Cybersecurity by Security Magazine. And she did her master's and PhD in computer science from Michigan State University and leads several national initiatives related to cybersecurity and workforce development. She's also published several books and among the list of many more accomplishments. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Rachel. It's an honor to be with you all. And thank you to those who are attending as well, and just the opportunity to highlight IT and cyber career opportunities across Florida. We truly value the work that Rachel and the Florida Chamber of Commerce are doing. And it's great to see the data you're presenting. So, even more reason to consider a career in cybersecurity. So I'm honored to be with you all today. And thanks for all the great work that you do. All right, so let's kind of talk about cyber. Why would you want to consider a career in cyber? And just kind of for, certainly for those who are joining us today, there's so many different options in cyber. It's really a multidisciplinary field. A lot of people think when they think cyber, they think technical and coding. And yes, there are those jobs, but there's also cyber manager roles and cyber forensics analysts and cyber intelligence analysts. So, we always want individuals to know that whether your passion is in business or engineering or philosophy or policy or government or psychology, there's a pathway to a cyber career, and there's great career opportunities out there. There's a huge demand, as you saw Rachel just mentioned. I love hearing that 17 out of the 24 and high demand areas are included. IT and cyber include IT and cyber. So that's amazing. So great opportunities right here in the state of Florida. I'll talk about that too. The salaries are typically pretty high. We're seeing entry level around 75,000, depending, of course, on experience, location, things like that. And then it's a great field to be in. You really cannot beat the mission. You are helping our state, you are helping our nation, you are helping your community protect from cyber attacks and adversaries. And it's a very fun and challenging career as well. There's certainly opportunities to work as a team, to learn, to grow. So, hopefully you can consider it. All right, let's keep going. Here's some, I want to kind of talk about, like, if you're thinking about a career in cyber and don't necessarily know where to start, or you've heard there's opportunities in cyber, and I think we'll share these slides with the links later. Is that correct? If they want to be able to get to the links, this is a great tool to look at. So it defines the NICE is a division of the National Institute for Standards and Technology, and NICE defines 52 cyber work roles in what's called the NICE framework. And this tool, you can actually kind of look at the layout of those 52 different cyber work roles. And if you select one, let's say you select one of those boxes down below, the circles, it'll tell you the knowledge, the skills, and the tasks needed for your work role. So if you're thinking about, for example, being a cyber defense analyst or a cyber crime investigator or a cyber incident responder, but you don't know what that involves, you can kind of drill down to see, well, what will I need to learn about? What kind of skills will I need? What would I be doing in a job like this? It actually even connects to some government roles and job opportunities related to those work roles. So this would be a good place to start. Let's keep going. And then you'll see that, as Rachel mentioned, the cyber market is alive and well and growing. So definitely a great career choice to consider if you're looking to, for example, transition from a different career, or you're looking to upskill from a different technology position. So you'll see that across the US, we have over 1 million employed in cyber, according to CyberSeek, and over 570,000 job openings. And the great thing is you kind of see Florida highlighted there on the map, that the job market in Florida is quite strong and growing as well. We have over 63,000 employed and over 30,000 job openings. And I would expect that number to actually be a low estimate, because not all jobs are necessarily coded as IT or cyber jobs. So there's probably a lot more jobs out there that involve cyber knowledge or skills that are available across Florida. And I love the scorecard and the data that the Florida Chamber is collecting and sharing with all of us to help us track that information. All right, let's keep going. So you'll kind of see that, not only are there a lot of job opportunities in Florida, there's also, we're outbeating the nation. So kudos to our state leadership, and kudos to all the companies in Florida helping to make that happen. So the supply demand ratio is higher than the national average. We currently have over 30,000 at least job openings. And you'll see that, like on the graphs at the bottom here, that we're outpacing the national average in cybersecurity job openings as a state, both in terms of job openings and employed, as well as kind of maintaining the supply and demand jobs. So the outlook is bright if you're considering a career in cybersecurity in Florida. All right, we can keep going. So here's kind of a little bit more, kind of, if you want to then, if hopefully now you're thinking about a little bit more, you have some work roles in mind, or you're trying to figure out what work role, you can actually look through the CyberSeek heat map and kind of look at what categories of jobs are most in demand by state or metropolitan area. So whether you want to be in the Tallahassee area or Pensacola area or Orlando, you can kind of look and see what are on the left there. It shows the categories that are most in demand. And then you can see there, like, for example, in Florida and across the area, the operate and maintain categories of jobs are the most in demand. And you can look at the actual work roles that are needed for that. And then on the right, you can also get a sense of what are industry certifications are needed. We always encourage people to looking for cyber careers to look at what are the baseline industry certs that could help you get a job or could help you advance in a cyber career. And then more specifically for each work role, what industry certs are needed. And so you'll see that in cybersecurity, a foundational cert continues to be CompTIA Security Plus. That is one that is considered very essential for almost all cybersecurity jobs. So it's a good one to try to get. And then you'll see that there are others that kind of depend on work role or level. So CISSP is for individuals with more experience. You have to have at least 2 years of cyber experience. So those are more for advanced work roles. And then you'll see there are others as well, depending on the type of work role. So this is good data to have, because you don't want to kind of go into it not knowing where to start or what to focus on. You want to focus on what are the skills that are going to help me and the certs that are going to help me get a job, get a good job, and advance in a cyber career. All right, we can keep going. So let's say, you want to then identify a specific work role to look at. And so as an example here, I've pulled up cybersecurity analyst, which is a mid-level role. One of the things that you can look at the map to do is see what are the feeder roles. If I want to become a cybersecurity analyst, how can I start? Where can I start that will help lead me to that role? And so that you'll see, as an example, cybersecurity specialist is a good feeder role, and you can look at the knowledge and skills needed for that. The other thing that you can see is the average salary. And so you'll see that, for example, for cybersecurity analysts, the average is about 107,000. And one thing also is you can see common job titles. This is very important when you're doing job searches, because cybersecurity is still such a young and new field that there's a lot of variation across employers in terms of job titles, right? And so it may be the same type of role, but they may call it, for example, an information security analyst or an IT security analyst or a security operations analyst. And so it helps to know, again, the skills and the tasks that are needed. And then as you're searching for jobs, what job title should you be targeting or looking for? All right, we can keep going. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of some, tools and resources that you can leverage and some reasons why to consider a career in cybersecurity. I want to kind of take also a little time to highlight some of the programs that we offer at UWF to help you on your cyber or IT career journey. And it's great to see that we've got some students from some of our programs on the call. So it's great to see that y'all are interested in learning more and advancing your cyber career. And so one of I think the keyword I always forget to put into slides, but I remember this time is free, right? What we try to make sure that we can offer programs that are free to various learners because we want to do our part to help the workforce and grow the workforce and give diverse learners opportunities to get into cybersecurity. And so this is kind of the brief overview, and I'll talk a little bit about each program next. So, but just in a nutshell, we offer the National Cybersecurity Workforce Development Program. It's funded through the NSA and CISA. And the short name of the program is Cyber Skills to Work for Cyber Skills to Work. That's much easier to say than National Cyber Workforce Development Program every time. And the goal for that program is to provide free training for personnel across the country. So we lead a coalition of 9 other universities who are offering this training, and I'll talk about it. It includes industry certs and one-day exercises. As part of that program, UWF is offering 3 training pathways for 2024. And then we're also planning additional ones for 2025. So if you're not yet sure, but thinking about getting into cyber, now is a good time to start thinking about work roles so that you can sign up when applications open for these programs again later this year. And then we also offer an additional program called the Florida Cybersecurity Training Program, which is funded through Cyber Florida. And that one provides free upskilling and reskilling for state personnel and local government personnel across the state. So that's our way of giving back as a state university and helping kind of upskill the workforce that we have. And the best part about these programs is that they're all free for eligible participants. So it's a great opportunity to not only get knowledge, get skills, but also earn industry certifications that are recognized by employers and digital badges. All right, we can keep going. So here's kind of a just overview of the UWF Cyber Skills to Work program. We really wanted to focus on work roles that are high demand across Florida. So we've looked at the data that the Florida Chamber of Commerce produces and that we get through our NSA and CISA partners as well. And we identified work roles such as system administrator, very high demand across the state, cyber defense analyst, another very foundational cyber role that could have entry level to advanced roles included. And then cyber defense infrastructure support specialist, because there's a huge focus right now, both across our state and nationally, on enhancing cyber resilience of our critical infrastructure, our energy, our water plants, our transportation systems. And so we wanted to make sure that we're supporting those initiatives as well. And our programs are all offered asynchronous online. So the benefit is that you could participate wherever you're at in the state, from Pensacola to the Keys. And they're also asynchronous so that you can participate when you're able to. And if you're working, you have a professional obligations during the day, then you can work in the evening. So it makes learning accessible. We do our best to integrate hands-on skills into everything that we do. We operate the Florida Cyber Range, and our faculty take a lot of effort into including simulations of cyber attacks and other simulated exercises to really kind of give you all the hands-on skills. Whenever we talk to employers, they always say, They want people with keyboard skills. And so we try to make sure we include that in our training. We also offer career development, such as mock interviews, helping you with your resumes, helping connecting you with employers and job opportunities to help make that transition. And then the program offers not only industry certifications for those courses that you pass the test, you also get UWF certificates and digital badges, which are great to highlight on LinkedIn and in your digital portfolio to employers as well. And for any of these programs that I'll talk about today, not just this one, you can email cybersecurity@uwf.edu. That's probably the simplest way, and I'm happy to put that in the chat window afterwards. And you can just request to be added to our mailing list. That way, when we open up applications for any of these programs in the future, you'll be the first to know about them. All right, we can keep going. I mentioned that we offer those 3 pathways, and we'll be offering more in 2025. Those pathways are offered as part of the National Cyber Skills to Work Program Overview, which I'm proud that UWF leads that national program as well. So this was kind of our way of creating a scalable, sustainable national program to really kind of check off the cyber workforce challenge. We keep hearing about from employers about we need more cyber expertise. And we want to do our part to kind of help that gap here in Florida and across the nation. So we launched this program in 2020, and you can see that we have 10 institutions that are part of our coalition, including here in Florida. Florida International University and USF Cyber Florida are part of the national coalition. And so the national coalition offers 22 different training pathways to train for 13 cyber work roles that are part of that map, the 52 work roles that I showed earlier. And we offer 17 different industry certifications. So if you're looking to if you go to a job posting you like or a work role and you see a cert needed, you can actually search through our website and see which certs we're offering and apply to those pathways to earn the certs. And the benefit of this program is most of these training pathways are also online. They're offered at different times of the year. Some are 3 months, some are 1 year. And so you can really kind of, based on your work role, see which pathway would be the best fit for you to apply to. All right, we can keep going. And all of that is available on the cyberskillstowork.org website. So if you go to that website, we have designed it with the learner in mind. We wanted to make it a one-stop shop for learners. And the training is currently free for transitioning military, veterans, military spouses, first responders, all state, local, and federal government personnel, women, and underrepresented minorities. The way we've designed built in a couple of tools to make it easier. One is that there's an optional aptitude assessment test when you apply, that the results are available only to you, so they're confidential, and you can take that aptitude assessment test to kind of identify what your strengths are, and more importantly, it aligns with those 52 nice work roles. So it'll tell you which cyber work role you may be a good fit for. So if you're just getting started and you don't know whether you want to be a cyber crime investigator or incident responder or system administrator, you can take the test and it'll kind of help you identify which work roles you may be a good fit for. Then you can search through the training programs tab there at the top of the website, and you can see which training programs we're offering for those work roles. And we've also built in a common application, so you can apply once. Let's say if you want to be a cyber defense analyst, and you see that UWF as well as FIU are offering those programs, you can apply once and your application will get routed to multiple universities. And then we're also building out an employers network portal where you can opt in to check out which jobs and employers are part of the coalition and the program. And you can also opt to share your resume with employers and so that they can consider you for job opportunities that you have. So it's again designed to just be easy to use for participants and program alumni. All righty, we can keep going. So this kind of gives you an idea too, that although UWF is offering several pathways and we will offer more, and we also lead the national program, we want to kind of highlight the training pathways that are offered free of charge by other institutions. And so you'll see that, like, for example, Florida International University has pathways in cyber defense forensics analysis and technical support specialist. Technical support is a great entry-level career option in cybersecurity as well. You'll see that USF offers a pathway in cyber defense analyst. And you'll see, for example, Dakota State offers open source intelligence analysis. And many of these pathways, as you see listed here, are asynchronous online, making them accessible to individuals across the country. So we encourage you to look through the website and see which pathways you may be a good fit for. And if they've already if the application date has passed, know that this program will go on through September of 2025. So there will be additional pathways open. And so that's why I encourage you to get on the mailing list so that we can keep you apprised of future learning opportunities. All right, we can keep going. We've also started offering one-day exercises, and we plan to continue to add more of these. So that's another reason to email cybersecurity@uwf.edu and add to the mailing list. We started with critical infrastructure security sessions since those were much needed, but we're going to be adding sessions like AI and cybersecurity and social engineering and other topics that we're seeing a need for. And this is a great kind of just get opportunity to see if this is for you and if you like it and if you want to learn more. It's just a one-day session. They are online. They are synchronous, so you'll have to be available for that day. But it's an overview of a topic, so you can get an overview of, for example, control system security or AI and cybersecurity. And if you like it, then perhaps sign up for a 2-week course or sign up for a pathway related to that in the future. So, and again, you earn a digital badge and a UWF certificate for completing these one-day cyber skills exercises. And these are funded in partnership with CISA. So we started with the critical infrastructure security because, as I mentioned, there's a huge need right now to protect our nation's and our state's critical infrastructure. And we're looking forward to partnering with CISA to expand these topics in the future. Alrighty, let's keep going. So another program that we launched last year, we're thrilled to partner with Cyber Florida and be part of their Cyber Secure Florida initiative that is funded through the state legislature to train and upskill our state and local government personnel. So this program offers a lot more flexibility and a lot more courses. There are industry cert preparation courses, 2-week technical training courses, and one-day exercises on a variety of topics. And they're free, as I mentioned, to state and local government personnel. And we always kind of point out, because sometimes people don't realize that that includes them. That includes all K through 12 employees, state university, state college, technical college and training center employees, all city, county, and municipality employees, and all state agency employees as well. It's interesting, when we first started promoting the program, including here at UWF, and I would tell people about it, and they're like, oh, that's great, I wish I could sign up. And I'm like, you can sign up, you're a state employee at UWF. And so we want to make sure everybody's aware of these opportunities. As I mentioned, we tried to create variety, so a little bit of everything. For everyone. So there's the one-day exercises, which are good if you just want to kind of get a teaser or have an idea about a topic without having having any background in it. The 2-week courses are if you want to start to drill down in some of these topics. And then, of course, the 9-week industry cert prep courses are a great resource, because if you sign up through other training, private sector training providers, these cost quite a bit to take these courses. So I'm thrilled that our faculty, through this grant from Cybersecure Florida, are able to provide these at no cost. And if we we will be offering additional courses for starting in July through 2024. Many of the courses are open now, but we're going to be offering additional courses for 2024 and 2025. So we can go to the next slide. This is just to give you an idea of some of the courses. These are the 2-week courses, and they are all asynchronous online, so they're very flexible. And you'll see we try to get input from the data that the Florida Chamber of Commerce provides, data that our state and local government personnel and Cyber Florida provides on what is needed. So for example, risk management is a topic that is very needed by organizations. How do you manage cyber risks? How do you respond to incidents? How do you secure our data? That is, a part of state statute is kind of data security and cloud security. And we will be varying these topics. So we also welcome input from employers on and learners and the chamber on what topics would be needed in the future. If we keep going, we also have highly in demand industry certification prep courses. We started with just 1 or 2 and thrilled to expand this to 8 more cert preps, starting from if you look at topics such as A+, that's a foundational CompTIA course. Anybody who has some background in technology can start with that one. And you can kind of work your way through other certs. So I mentioned Security Plus, where we will be offering more sessions in that already kind of started for this year. Cloud Plus is another high in demand one. Our state is moving to a cloud first approach. So that is a good one to have if you're thinking about a career in state or local government. And then there's some advanced certs like CISSP, Cybersecurity Analyst. There's also EC Council Ethical Hacking is another great one for those looking to get into SOC analysts or penetration testing or ethical hacking types of roles. So we can keep going. And then these are some of the topics for the 1-day exercises. And again, these are 1 day online, but they're synchronous. So you need to make yourself available for just that day. We do that by design because we want the faculty to engage with the learners and the participants and really kind of create opportunities for discussion, for learning, for feedback as well. And so again, you can see that there's a wide range of topics. Topics like social engineering fundamentals, applicable to anybody, even in our daily life, right? How to just know, or enhancing cyber hygiene. We're offering that one on June 5th. That's a great just refresher that I would say everybody across the state, every resident, every age should be learning about cyber hygiene. We're living in a digital world and everybody needs to know how to protect their data and their information online, including our kids. But you'll also see we have some more specialized topics like applications of AI in cybersecurity. This is just an intro. If you want to learn about, we're all hearing about AI. How does that apply in cybersecurity? As well as more specialized topics like policy writing, ransomware, maritime security, phishing scenarios is another kind of common one that everybody should learn about. So a variety of topics that will continue to expand in the future. And I think that's it. We can keep going. So thank you for the opportunity, Rachel.
Yes, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Dr. Alshik, for this information. Honestly, I learned so much during this presentation, and it's really awesome. What struck me is guiding learners, and I'm sure Vicki will talk about this in a second, but to know where to start depending on where they're at. And I think that that's something that some of the information you shared really, for me was an aha moment of like, oh, okay, so this specific certification, for example, is the one that's the most advertised in job postings and that sort of thing. That information is very valuable. Great. Well, now we'll shift gears here. I want to introduce Vicki Green. Thank you so much again, Dr. Alshik. We really appreciate you coming on today and providing all this information. So I want to introduce Vicki Green, who is again our Future Work Advisory Board member who serves as the SVP Pearson Workforce Skills. Vicki just has such a unique perspective as she, works tirelessly, to help thousands of adult learners really upskill and, move into promising career fields. And also, she holds an interesting perspective from, a leader of a company that relies heavily on employees with these skills. So thank you so much for being here today, Vicki.
So good to be here. And I learned a ton as well. I love the courses that you're giving for free. And I wrote down cyber hygiene is a new term that I'm going to adopt. I love it. So good. So thanks for having me, Rachel.
That's awesome. Well, for our listeners, that haven't met you yet, Vicki, I think it'd be helpful for you to kind of describe your role at Pearson and GED testing services and maybe provide just like an overview of the company for those who haven't really engaged before.
Yeah, so I lead GED, and GED, I'll kind of start there, is an organization that I'm sure all of you have heard of, is those individuals that do not pass high school go on to earn their GED credential. And what's fascinating about the GED is that we have about 30 million adults out there who do not have their high school diploma. And so the more we can reach, the more we can impact, and the more we can talk about career paths such as cybersecurity. And so I lead that organization. We offer the GED in 90 countries across the world. And really, it's the opportunity for those individuals to open the door to a future and to earn a sustaining wage. And then in addition to GED, I also lead an organization called Career Pathways. And that is really accelerated pathways. It's a way for learners to go on to post-secondary and earn credentials. So helping them utilize a path to what does it mean to get a job in cybersecurity? What does it mean to get a job in nursing? And so then we help them build a plan to earn a degree in their career choice. Or maybe they don't even know what they want to do. We can help them build a path for their career, their future.
That's awesome. Thank you. So let's think about providing advice to adult learners or someone, I think about folks who want to transition, in their careers. What would you, or why would you suggest this career pathway of cybersecurity and the opportunities presented today?
It's fascinating when you talk with learners, and I look at it from an employer perspective and from a GED. Most learners say, I cannot go into technology. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the skills, the ability. Oh my gosh, technology is really overwhelming. And when you start breaking it down, and one of the examples that I use, and Rachel and I talked about this yesterday, is that there was an example where I was in the airport, and in one day, there was a fast food restaurant where you go up and order your food with an individual on the other side. And then when we landed, that was all gone. And now it was screens, and everyone had to do self-ordering on a screen. And so when you think about technology and when you think about where it's going and when you think about AI, every one of us needs to understand technology. Every single one of us needs to have a view into what this technology means. And the scope of technology roles is so wide and big. Sometimes maybe you just need to know how to run a system. Maybe you're leading individuals in a technology role. But I think the first thing that starts with it is you have to start talking about technology in a way that's small and not overwhelming, and not that everyone thinks that, oh gosh, I have to have all this technology knowledge in order to go in a role. I think that's the issue that we have. And so how can we start introducing roles like cybersecurity in small bite-sized chunks, as we saw in the presentation before, is like starting to go some, classes, free webinars, starting to talk to different career paths. And so I think just getting the word out and having more conversations is going to help bring away that stigmatism around a technology role.
Yeah, and thinking of, the learners that you've served, and I've been to the conference, the national conference before. I've heard a lot of students speak about their experiences and how the GED and then, afterward has changed their trajectory. But what kind of impact do you think if the learner was willing to explore a career pathway like this with such promise could have on their future?
Yeah, I think, for me, the impact is so much bigger than the job itself. I think one of the things, again, that we know is if I have a mom or dad in a technology career, it opens my eyes to so much more in the world. And so to me, it's the impact is the here and now of the individual that gets the training, that's in a role that's protecting data and protecting security and all the things that every single one of us needs in our life, in our organizations. But I think what it also does is it gives those families that don't have moms and dads or grandmas and grandpas and uncles in technology a view into a world that they didn't realize existed. And so I think what you start doing is shifting the conversation. So the more we can get in technology roles, like a cybersecurity role, the more generations to come now have a view into what that looks like. What are the skills that I need? And there's, I think, again, there's a lot of exciting things when you look at a salary, the salaries that we just went through. There's many learners out there that have no idea their salary opportunity and where they can go with this career path.
Yeah, that's so true. I know. It was a shock because I do a lot of, data digging every day on careers and salaries and all of that. And that was like whoa, that is way higher than most of the careers that I look at that are,
Yeah.
on our high demand careers list. So I want to switch hats a little bit for you to the employer perspective. So thinking about, large organizations with a lot of personal information and that sensitivity, can you share sort of the importance of having a skilled workforce in that space?
Yeah, it's, I think we all see it every day, but one of the things, the example that I think is really powerful is when COVID hit, all of us had to take a step back and say, what is it that we're going to do? How are we going to still function as organizations? And then how are we going to function and still keep data safe? And how are we going to still keep learner data safe? When you think about me as an employer, the GED, every learner is sharing personal data, email, first, last name, location, zip code, all those data elements. And when COVID happened, we had to shut down all of the testing centers. And now we had to offer testing from your home. And when you do that, when you make those kinds of business decisions and shift it, because there really isn't a good option at the time, all of that cybersecurity, all of those elements that keep the data had to be looked at in a different way. And so I think, again, as an employer, it is critical that everything that we do on every single element of personal data, security of data is at the forefront of anything that we do. And so I think what we have to do is we always have to have the right folks that are on staff. And then we also have to have the right information, data, and processes to say, okay, once the business has to make a shift, how do we make sure that we have all the right elements in place as well? And so I think, again, the key to all of this is being nimble, getting other individuals in the door, people who think differently, act differently. And again, maybe don't have a IT background or technology background, but have the ability to look at things in a bigger picture. And so how can we take that, all kind of encompassing together to build a future of, just keeping the data safe?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think about my prior role at the Department of Education and knowing that this opportunity is available for free for any state worker. And
Yeah,
sort of
amazing.
what not only can it, obviously allow for someone to really upskill and maybe change the trajectory of their career, but also keep all that information safe that is so important for, hundreds of thousands of students over time. So
That's right.
lastly, I want to get your perspective. I love answering kind of or asking questions that are kind of out of the box, but just like, what do you think are the consequences? I know that it's hard sometimes to convince folks that this career field, and I think it's the intimidation factor, that we have been talking about earlier, but also like, what are the consequences if we don't, attract folks to this career field, as a country, as a, the state first, but as a country, and just, I would love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think it's the right question. I think it's a tough question, but it feels that given even some of the data that you shared and some of the data that we saw on roles, I think it's catastrophic. I think that if we don't get ahead of this and start having conversations earlier in the learner journey, and if we don't start reaching, again, the underserved learner, those identified that maybe don't have moms and dads in careers in technology, I think it's catastrophic to all of us. And so I think it's critical that each one of us as employers and even individual leaders and as moms and dads ourselves, that we start having conversations with our own children, with others on the need to have technology roles specific to protecting data, cyber, all of that. And so to me, I think we don't really know the full impact, but it feels, given where we're headed and where we're going, especially with AI, and we talked a little bit about this, could be really damaging to the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, as always, Vicky, for your perspective and leadership. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. This is fun. I learned a ton.
Yeah, same here. Thank you. All right, well, we can go ahead and move on to the Q&A portion. And actually, I wanted to share Dr. El-Sheikh's contact information, because if you learned a lot like I did today, you might be more, you might have more questions and might want to reach out. So there is her contact information. Definitely encourage you to reach out and take advantage of these opportunities. It seems like there is a place for anyone interested in this world, and lots of opportunities for free as well. And yeah, we did not have any questions that we didn't answer. So that's really exciting too. So we can kind of move on to the next slide, Katie. Just want to share, our registration information for the upcoming Workforce Wednesday webinar in March. So on March 20th, we will actually discuss a topic that I've been diving into regularly lately and feel very passionate about, which is second chance hiring. And you'll hear from a national subject matter expert, and we're partnering with them. It's WEI, Dr. Carrie Pettis, and really working toward develop some Florida-focused resources for employers regarding second chance hiring. So we'll discuss all of that in our partnership on this webinar on March 20th. And you can use that QR code to register. It'll also be, the registration will be available in the memo that'll be sent out today. So feel free to engage in that way. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. Finally, I want to mention our annual Learners to Earners Workforce Solution Summit. Registration is now live on our website, and we'll have speakers highlighting talent development strategies on everything from early learning, K-12, post-secondary ed, and adult education, everything in between really related to workforce. And just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, our Florida Virtual School presenting sponsor, Helios, FGCU, and FIU for their early commitment. There are additional sponsorship opportunities. If you are interested, Erin Kinnon's email is on there. Feel free to reach out to Erin or myself. Be happy to walk you through that process. And then finally, you can go to the last slide. This is my contact information. One more time, for those of you who are interested, again, always interested in having conversations related to workforce, recommend that you reach out via email. We can set up a time to chat, and I can also add you to our monthly memo. So thank you all again so much for being here today. I really appreciated the conversation, and I really hope that we get more folks interested in cybersecurity. I think it's a really important career field, and obviously it has lots of opportunities. So thank you so much again.
Thanks, Rachel. It's great to be part of this, and thanks for all that you and the chamber are doing to advance workforce across the state, and we're thrilled to be part of those efforts.
Thank you.